All right, before we start, we apologize, but the tent has to stay just so we can protect the audio equipment. But anyway, good evening and welcome to the 129th commencement exercise of Enfield High School as we honor our graduates of the class of 2021. My name is Dan White, and I'm the class president. I will be facilitating this graduation. And one more thing before we start. I know it's a bit wet, but we ask everyone to put down the umbrellas for now so that everybody can see. But carrying the state flag is Casey Roberto, who is joining the U.S. Air Force. Carrying the American flag is Marcos Rodriguez, who is entering the U.S. Navy. They are led by Lieutenant Colonel Richard Fairley, our United States Air Force Academy liaison officer. Please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I now invite Connor Gaston to come forward to sing the national anthem.
Test. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Country thanks you and your classmates for your choice to serve. Dismissed.
Tonight is a joyful celebration in which we recognize the accomplishments of our graduating class. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for the students. I ask for your cooperation so that we can make this a truly dignified ceremony for the class of 2021. Please remain in your seats for the entire program so that you don't obstruct someone's view. Thank you. Before we continue with this program, I would like to take this opportunity to recognize a few people who have joined us here this evening. Mr. Walter Kozel, Chairperson of the Enfield Board of Education. Mr. John Ungar, Vice Chairman of the Enfield Board of Education. Mrs. Tina LeBlanc, Secretary. Board of Education members, Ms. Jeanette Cushman, Mrs. Joyce Hall, Mr. Jonathan LeBlanc, Mr. Scott Ryder, Mr. Bill Salazar, Mrs. Stacy Thurston, and Mayor Michael Ludwig. Superintendent of Schools, Mr. Christopher Drezick, Deputy Superintendent of Schools, Mr. Andy Longi, Chief Academic Officer, Mrs. Michelle Middleton, Chief Information Officer, Mr. Guy Barraza, Principal Ms. Clark, Principal Ms. Erin Clark, Intern Principal, Mr. Robert Fenton, Assistant Principals, Mr. Connell Clark, Mrs. Laura Gagnon, 12th grade Dean, Mr. Matthew Murray, also the class of 2021 advisors, Dr. Bridget Moriarty and Ms. Holly Simmons. I would also like to welcome the members of the Enfield High School faculty. The valedictorian of the class of 2021, Ms. Grace Ferris. Salutatorians of the class of 2021, Ms. Alexis Dean and Ms. Cassandra Dean. And of course, parents and honored guests. At this time, we would like to pay a special tribute to all the graduates who plan to enter the armed forces. Would all the graduates planning to enter the armed forces rise so that we can properly recognize your commitment to serve our country? Thank you. You may be seated. I would like to again welcome friends, family, faculty, and all others who have come to support today's ceremony and our class. 2021. That number almost sounded mythical freshman year. I remember listening to one of the seniors talk about how high school flew by so fast. In a blink of an eye, it was over. At the time, I didn't believe it, but I was definitely wrong. It felt like yesterday when we first walked through these hallways as apprehensive freshmen. It was only a moment ago that we were taking vocab quizzes in Miss Bogio's class, actually using our school lockers, and trying to find E-Wing. One memory in particular stays fresh in my mind. It was my very first experience at EHS. I remember nervously sitting down the first day of band camp when I accidentally spilled an entire gallon jug of water all over the ground. And I have to say, I made some very great first impressions, and I also wondered how I'd ever survive high school. And I'm sure I wasn't alone. Anxiety about new experiences is a universal emotion. But we all have grown and evolved. We are more confident and able to tackle new problems that we've never faced before. I mean, look at us. Everyone on the stage sitting in front of us is exceptional. For example, our sports teams are phenomenal. We have one of the highest academically achieving classes at Enfield High ever, and along with so many creative artists and musicians. And as for myself, I am proud to say that I moved on from spilling water jugs to using squirt guns on my classmates for senior assassination. I'd like to say congratulations. Congratulations to the class of 2021 for all your hard work in achieving so much. I also want to thank, again, the parents and faculty for helping us finish this chapter in our lives. This moment is special. It is an end of an era and a birth of another. But it wasn't a transition that came without difficulty. I can remember the moment we were sent home abruptly due to COVID. Sitting on the bus ride home, it felt like an uncertain future was looming ahead of us. My mind filled with so many emotions. And next thing we knew, we were taking class from a computer screen in our bed. Our high school experience had been crumpled and changed into something so unexpected and unscripted. This is my script, right here. It is a written layout of what is expected to happen. It is a predictable timeline that I had envisioned and practiced beforehand. And I think this is a good metaphor for our thoughts entering high school. We had hopes and plans. We took the expected for granted. We planned to participate in sports, attend junior prom, homecoming, and even just seeing friends in the hallway. But this is what actually happened. After COVID hit, our predicted hopes and dreams were disrupted. Prom was canceled. Sports were non-existent. It seemed like everything was over. But we were the class of 2021, and we let nothing stand in our way. Yeah, nothing. We forged a new script, uncertain of what story of events laid ahead of us. And we wrote a new chapter of our high school experience like no one else before. Change is not always something that is negative. Even though our expectations of our high school journey were revised, we formed new paragraphs containing a plot that reflects our willingness and adapt to push ourselves. Our legacy has been perseverance, and our future will entail the highest success through determination. I have no doubt that the people of our class will change the world. We are all authors of our success, achieved in high school, and now it's time to write the next chapter. I gotta go back. Okay. At this time, I would like to introduce the Enfield High Salutatorians of the class of 2021. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Miss Alexis Dean and Miss Cassandra Dean. Give them a round of applause.
Good evening. My name is Alexis Dean, and I would like to welcome Superintendent Drezek, Board of Education members, including Chairman Crucell, the Town Council, classmates, family, friends, and guests to this momentous occasion. I can speak on behalf of my classmates when I say, each of you have made a profound impact on the journey that led us to this day, and for that, we would like to share our gratitude. When trying to decide a theme for my speech, the first thing that came to mind was the concept of challenges. This seems especially fitting today as we eagerly waited for a phone call that decided the fate for today's ceremony. When I think of challenges, one person that comes to mind is Serena Williams. For all you sportsfans out there, I'm sure that you know of Serena Williams. For those of you who are not, she is arguably the best women's tennis player of our time. I decided to discuss Serena today because she acts as the perfect example of the point that I would like to make here today. And that is, in life, we are presented with many challenges. And even the woman who holds the honor of the most Grand Slam titles in this open era is no stranger to a challenge. It was in 2015 when Serena was after a Grand Slam, which was a justified expectation as she was ranked first in the tournament. However, her hopes were crushed when she was eliminated from the U.S. Open by a player who was only ranked 43rd overall. Following this defeat, Serena's loss was labeled as the biggest upset in tennis history, and she faced excessive criticism and backlash. However, instead of getting down on herself, she stayed positive and saw these comments as challenges to improve. She worked hard and came back better than ever in her sequential matches. Serena Williams embodies the image of mental strength and toughness I believe that we all possess. Now, although many of our trials and tribulations will not be witnessed on a large scale like Serena's, I want to offer you, the class of 2021, some guidance for the future. I challenge you to be steadfast in the pursuit of your dreams. If something doesn't go right the first time, don't give up. I often find myself envying Serena because I am guilty of letting rejection and failures get to me. But I am learning that it doesn't matter because in the end, they are learning experiences and we are all the better from them. Whatever your goal is, no matter how far-fetched, go after it, even if others are telling you that it isn't possible or that it won't work. The future is uncertain, but I am confident that the possibilities for the class of 2021 are endless. Secondly, I challenge you to stay true to who you are and what you believe in. We are all unique, and thank goodness for that. If we had hundreds of Luke Barnes and Amanda Amobanks, aka our class party animals, running around, then we might have some trouble on our hands. I believe we all have the potential to change the world someday. Take Jamison Lavery, who was headed off to the Army to serve our country. Or Catherine Longo, who is going to become a physician assistant and save lives every day. We can all make profound impacts as long as we embrace who we are and find something that we are passionate about. And finally, I challenge you to choose happiness and enjoy every day for all that it is worth. We can't let the circumstances of life slow us down. There will be hard moments for sure, but if we choose optimism and we choose to push forward, we will gain the confidence and resilience to face anything life throws at us. High school is only the beginning, and there is no denying that we had a blast. But whether we are headed off to a university, the workforce, or the military, better days are ahead than we are leaving behind, so why not make the most of it? Now, I never said that these things would be easy, because if they were, they wouldn't be challenges. But I believe that we can accomplish whatever we set our minds to. Good luck and congratulations to the class of 2021 on this amazing feat. I would now like to introduce the next speaker, who is constantly stealing my clothes and evidently my GPA as well. My co-salutatorian and twin sister, Cassandra Dean.
Good evening. Thank you to Alexis for that introduction, but just to set the record straight, we share clothes. Superintendent Drezek, Chairman Crucell, Board of Education and Town Council members, family and friends, thank you all for being here tonight. I would also like to give a special thanks to my mom and my whole family for always inspiring and supporting me. In light of everything we have been through this past year, it truly is surreal to be up here on this podium. I never thought I'd feel so thankful to be standing on a stage soaked as I deliver a speech to hundreds of people. To my fellow graduates, the day has come. The day we transition from high school kids to young adults, ready to take on the world. Many of us are feeling a mix of emotions. Some are feeling sad that we will never get to participate in another high school sporting event or laugh during class with our friends. Others are feeling relieved that we do not have any summer work to do, or that we do not need to memorize the first derivative of arctane anymore, including myself. No matter how we may be feeling on this momentous day, it is certainly bittersweet. As a class, we have laughed and we have cried. We've celebrated and despaired, but through it all, we persevered. Earlier, you heard Alexis mention challenges. If there's anything high school has taught me, especially this past year, it is that no challenge is too great to overcome. We've been facing challenges since the first day we stepped through these doors, and I know that the class of 2021 will continue to succeed as we embark on this new journey. Coming into high school, we were faced with a plethora of challenges. How in the world am I going to make it from the band room to third floor E-wing in 5 minutes? What classes do I want to take? As we moved up the ranks of the high school hierarchy, our worries transformed slightly. We stressed over making a varsity sports team or winning tug-of-war at pep rally. We stayed up all night studying for tests or writing last-minute papers. However, every challenge we faced, we tackled head-on, and it has shaped us into the graduates we are today. It has been said many times before that it is the journey that truly matters, not just the destination. Our journey was certainly not a smooth road. We've stumbled and experienced failures along the way. However, it has only made us stronger. Every difficulty we've overcome, every success we've celebrated over these past 4 years has turned us into the young adults we are now, primed and ready to take the world by storm. There is no denying that this past year we were faced with obstacles most of us never could have dreamed we'd need to experience. It's almost amusing now to look back and remember March 2020, when everyone was excited because we thought we were getting a 2-week vacation from school. Little did we know that those 2 weeks would turn to more than a year of learning primarily online. This was certainly not an easy transition for anyone and presented itself with an array of challenges. All assignments were virtual, online class was awkward because no one wanted to unmute themselves, and staying awake during first period while at home was a struggle in itself. But we did it. For many, balancing school life while spending most of our time at home was difficult, but we did not give up. The class of 2021 never gives up, and it has gotten us to where we are today. Earlier, I mentioned the journey being more meaningful than the destination. To me, every struggle we have faced throughout high school makes our graduation all that more special. We have done it against all odds, and that is something each of us should be proud of. While many of us may describe the circumstances of this past year as dreadful, looking back on what we have endured makes me extremely hopeful. Look at all we have overcome. We made it through a global pandemic and still managed to accomplish some truly amazing things. We picked up trash on Earth Day, made holiday cards for local senior centers, and collected hat and mints for the warming center. Some of us maintained jobs, spent hours applying to college, and planned our futures. I truly believe that if we can do all these incredible undertakings during some of the most difficult times, there is absolutely nothing this group of graduates cannot achieve. Soon we will all be starting new chapters of our lives and embarking on a new journey. Some of us will continue our education at a 2 or 4 year institution, others will enter the workforce, still others will join the armed forces. No matter where we are headed or what the future may bring, I know we, the class of 2021, are going to change the world. This brings me to the last piece of advice I'd like to leave with you tonight. Seize every moment possible. Never take anything for granted. Embrace your highs and your lows, because each day is special. As we all know very well, you never know when your life could be turned upside down. I hope we can all take what these past 4 years of high school have taught us and appreciate everything, especially each other. Again, thank you for being here tonight, and congratulations to the Enfield High class of 2021.
Good evening. I'm Erin Clark, the principal here at Enfield High School. We'd like to present an official citation from the State of Connecticut General Assembly, introduced by Senator John Kissel, Representative Tom Arnone, and Representative Carol Hall. Be it hereby known to all that the Connecticut General Assembly offers its sincerest congratulations to Alexis Dean and Cassandra Dean in recognition of being named co-salutatorians of the Enfield High School class of 2021. And we'll now present this to their parents.
Gotta go back again. At this time, I would like to introduce the valedictorian of the class of 2021, who will give the valedictorian address. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Miss Grace Ferris.
Good evening, friends and family, teachers, administrators, staff, Mr. Drezek and other central office members, Board of Education members, town council members, and all the graduating seniors in the class of 2021. I'd like to start off by thanking all the staff that greeted us every morning, the cooks that provided breakfast and lunch, the custodians who kept our school clean, the security guards that kept us safe, everyone in the guidance office and career center who helped us plan our future, the nurses, the administrators, and each and every teacher who worked tirelessly every day to help us discover our passions. I was told that the valedictory speech was supposed to be full of wisdom. The problem is, I am not very wise at 18 years old. So I'm going to cite one of the wisest people, well, fictional talking bears I know, A.A. Milne's 94-year-old Winnie the Pooh. You might recognize a couple of the Winnie the Pooh isms. Poohism number 1. I am not lost, for I know where I am. But however, where I am may be lost. 4 years ago, we all walked through the doors of Enfield High School, eager to make lasting memories and hoping to catch a glimpse of what the future might look like. We found ourselves in a maze, both literally and figuratively, not knowing where the paths would lead us and where the hallways would take us. We found ourselves in the wrong wing, the wrong floor, maybe even the wrong class. Hopefully that wasn't just me. Perhaps there were times when we thought that we were going backwards or not making any progress at all. But sometimes we have to explore every possible path before finding the right one. And so eventually, we figured out that being in the maze already put us one step closer to navigating through it by planning classes, keeping track of credits, and choosing subjects we wanted to continue and dropping courses we were no longer interested in. We may have run into some walls or tripped over some bumps along the way, but every turn, every obstacle, and every dead end sticks with us, helping us make the right decisions later on, funneling down possible directions and marking the ones we've already followed. We leave our footprints everywhere we go, which brings me to Poohism number 2. Footprints. They tell you where you've been, but not where you're going to go. Through the thousands of walks down the hallways, up the stairs, and down to the fields, we experienced some of our worst moments and some of our best, some of our most embarrassing, such as spilling your entire water bottle in the hallway during passing time, and some of our most proud and distinguished moments, like winning a game as the underdog. Even the struggle of learning to type into OneNote, or the embarrassment of realizing too late that we were unmuted on Teams. We hoped that when we burst through the ribbon at the finish line, we'd have enough momentum and direction to know exactly where we should continue running. We'd be one, if not multiple steps closer to choosing the path we want to follow for the rest of our lives. We'd have accomplished something big. But standing here today is an accomplishment, one that required 720 days of classes, at least 4 million steps, according to Fitbit, countless hours studying, and many, many dollars spent on coffee, all over 4 years of dedication and work. High school is a period of transition, of preparing. We are not supposed to know the destination of our journey or even which path is right. How could we? These last 4 years have been organized for us, put together into a logical sequence to aid our development and learning. We walked into each class with a syllabus prepared that told us exactly what to expect, the objective of the course, and our purpose in the class. We knew our next assignment, our next test, what's on the lunch menu. Even where we are sitting today was planned out for us. Unfortunately, we don't walk away from today with an adult life starter pack telling us exactly what the next step is and every step after. We don't have a syllabus clearly outlining our purpose in life, the direction we should follow. So while this may seem intimidating, it should also be exciting. We have our pages laid out, our foundation. We just have to grab a pen and start writing. We are grateful for the structure and the knowledge imparted, and we are ready for the adventure, the dreams that will come true, the families we may have, and the careers we may pursue. Poohism number 3. We didn't realize we were making memories, we just knew we were having fun. When we look back over the last 4 years, countless memories resurface. The first day of school, hanging out during Eagle Hour, ensuring that our homecoming dresses were unique, bus trips to games, or driving around with a leaking water gun for senior assassinations. Throughout high school, we think, what memories will we keep? Which will we forget? We are more than the sum of our experiences, but they are a part of us and who we will become. So whether high school was full of memories you want to keep or wish you could forget, we shouldn't regret them. We'll pull them out from time to time, show pictures to our kids, try on our sports uniform or prom dress years later, complain how we had to lug around happy backpacks back when we were in school, while kids these days only have to carry a single iPad. Perhaps we'll distantly hear Mr. Clark's weekly Eagle Rewards announcement, or the collective roar of our class in the pep rally. Remember the feel of the football turf from doing push-ups during PE class, or see this very moment of all of us gathered together flash before our eyes. We may not have appreciated these moments in our 4 years of high school, wanting this day to come as quickly as possible. But thinking back, I hope we are all reminded to slow down a little, to relish all the future accomplishments we may have and memories we will create. There is no need to rush. Whether our next step is college, the start of a career, the military, or a gap year, nobody will be calling our parents if we don't show up to class or to work. We are the only people who will hold us accountable. There may not be another time in history when a generation will matter as much as ours in terms of what our country will be when we are running the businesses, the schools, the government. You might not think the little choices we make daily matter, but our lives are literally the result of all the seemingly little decisions that pop up every day. Decisions that won't always consist of writing a thesis, defining a variable, or forming a hypothesis. The only way that we can truly be the best we are capable of is if we put our effort into what we are good at, what we enjoy, and what we are called to do. In this small way, eventually, if the 392 of us impact our families, friends, co-workers, classmates, and strangers by choosing to do the next right thing, the effect will be exponential. We have already proven this year we can overcome adversity. We can overcome isolation. We can overcome fear. Seriously, this was no small accomplishment, yet we did it each day, one iPad charge at a time. We will never underestimate our freedom and our gratitude for the things in life we perhaps used to take for granted. But even more importantly, we have proven to ourselves that we can not only make it through a crisis, we are better because of it. We each have a path that has so far brought us to be the 2021 graduating class of Enfield High School. We are walking away from today, and I cannot wait to see where we all end up. As Winnie the Pooh said, I always get to where I am going by walking away from where I have been. Finally, I'd like to say thank you to all of the people, parents, guardians, brothers, sisters, friends, and teachers who have guided us this far. We are ready. For us now, every day is unexpected. Every day is a beginning. Every day depends on the choices we made the day before. But we will take what all those who have supported us have so generously given, taught, and exemplified, and begin our own hunt for our passions and purpose. We all have new journeys ahead of us. We are all the same in this moment in that the possibilities before us are endless. We are all eagles, and the sky is literally the limit. This leads me into one last Poohism, and I hope everyone takes this last one to heart. You are braver than you believe, stronger than you seem, and smarter than you think. So let's go out into the world and prove it. Thank you, everybody.
like to present an official citation from the State of Connecticut General Assembly, introduced by Senator John Kissel, Representative Tom Arnone, and Representative Carol Hall. Be it hereby known to all that the Connecticut General Assembly offers its sincerest congratulations to Grace Kennedy Ferris. We'll now present to her parents. Just in case.
And now, to present the class of 2021, please help me welcome Enfield High School's principal, Miss Erin Clark.
Mr. Drezek, Mr. Krzel, Mayor Ludwig, members of the Board of Education, members of the Town Council, Enfield High School faculty, invited guests, parents, and members of the class of 2021. Tonight we welcome you as we join together with the Enfield High School community to honor our distinguished graduates. I think we can all agree that it is just wonderful to be here in person to celebrate graduation. After missing out on a traditional graduation last year, we do not take this moment for granted. We are here to honor another generation of young people successfully finishing their high school career and embarking upon a new and exciting phase in life. While this is first and foremost an achievement of the graduates, this ceremony is also an achievement of our entire Enfield community, as it truly does take a village to raise a child. This year's graduation is a particularly joyous celebration because of the way our town came together to overcome the challenges of the past year. We are forever grateful for the heroic efforts of our first responders and healthcare professionals, the generosity of local businesses, and the diligence of our local town officials, civil servants, and community leaders. And just as our local community came together during this difficult time, our smaller school community flourished in the same way. Our support staff rose to the occasion. Our school nurses worked after hours to help us make phone calls for contact tracing. Our administrative assistants weathered the elements to help distribute and collect iPads and other materials. And our social workers, school counselors, and administrators conducted over 100 home visits to assist students with various needs. These are just a few examples. Not surprisingly, our parents and guardians stepped up in unprecedented ways as the pandemic required them to juggle periods of homeschooling with other responsibilities. We met with many parents over the course of the last 2 years, and so many were doing everything they could to help their students navigate the many challenges in an entirely new style of learning. In particular, we know that the parents of seniors worked diligently to keep our current graduates motivated in what must have been the worst case of senioritis ever. Graduates, let's give your parents a round of applause for all the ways they helped get you to this stage. Another group of people deserving special recognition are our community leaders, many of whom are with us today. This was a difficult time to hold a leadership position, as there were no popular solutions. Martin Luther King Jr. said that the ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in the moment of comfort, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy. One individual who showed extraordinary leadership during this time was Superintendent Drezek. I'm not just saying that because he's my boss. He always put the safety of students and staff first, but never stopped looking for innovative ways to safely return our students to normalcy. When other schools across the state and country were remote, we were back in school. We were able to do this and do this safely, largely because of his leadership. So thank you. And while there were many heroes in this pandemic, such as healthcare workers, first responders, and essential workers, I strongly believe our classroom teachers and educators are among those deserving this hero status. It is important that we take a moment and pause and reflect on what they accomplished in the past year and a half. Our educators just put on a masterclass in how to adapt and innovate in the face of change. When the decision was made this summer to get students back in the building, it required us to completely transform our school. We measured classrooms and rearranged furniture to make sure students could be safely distanced. We ordered and distributed hand sanitizer, disinfectant, and masks. We placed signage around the building to alert students to new protocols and one-way hallways. We transformed how students ate lunch, entered, and exited the building. We completely revamped our 8-period schedule to reduce the number of cohorts. Our teachers and educators not only had to adapt to all these procedural changes, but they needed to adjust to an entirely new way of teaching. Coming back to the building after last year's lockdown, many of the teachers were fearful, not only about the virus and their health, but of the new protocols and the new teaching model where they would need to teach simultaneously to both students in person and those at home. Tears were shed as we struggled to get technology to cooperate. How would we get audio to work so students at home could hear students' comments in class? How would we get the projectors to sync with Microsoft Teams? Furthermore, how would they make this new style of learning meaningful and challenging for students? How would they build the same sense of community in their classroom in this new digital environment? I don't think I can overstate how challenging this past year was for our educators. Many will tell you it was the hardest year they've ever experienced in their career. But our teachers put endless hours into adapting their lesson plans to fit this new model. They learned how to use Teams and OneNote, Forms, among many other applications. They ran into hiccups along the way, but worked with one another to troubleshoot problems and find creative solutions. There was a true spirit of collaboration and innovation among these amazing professionals, and we should take a moment to recognize their astonishing efforts. Last but not least, the most important recognition should go to the students seated before you today. Graduates, your final years of high school were highly unconventional. As we went entirely paperless and teachers delivered instruction on a screen, it required all of you to make major adjustments to the way you learn. And while you were fortunate to have an in-person graduation and senior prom, you missed out on junior prom, homecoming, pep rally, and many of the other events that make high school fun. The way you handled these disappointments with grace and took everything in stride was remarkable. You came to school, followed the new protocols, and set an example for the underclassmen. You made sacrifices to protect others, and I am forever grateful for the civility and maturity you demonstrated along the way. Moreover, you stayed motivated in a particularly difficult time, submitted your assignments, passed your tests, and successfully fulfilled your academic obligations when it would have been easy to lose focus. You sit here today because you worked hard and refused to quit despite the unique challenges you faced. To the graduates of 2021, what an achievement it is to graduate this year of all years. If 2 years ago someone told you that you would face a global pandemic, a national lockdown, and social distancing requirements, you may have doubted your capacity to handle such a disruption. If you ever doubt yourself in the future, please remember this time in your life and how you persisted. You faced the unimaginable and not only survived, but thrived. If there's one thing I hope your graduates take away from this experience, it is that the only way to overcome your fears is to face them head on. Former First Lady and activist Eleanor Roosevelt said, "You gain strength, courage and confidence by every experience in which you really stop to look fear in the face. You are able to say to yourself, I have lived through this horror. I can take the next thing that comes along. You must do the thing you think you cannot do. Class of 2021, when you experience fear and encounter change, let it be a signal that you are encountering an opportunity for growth. Go toward that thing that frightens you and do the thing you think you cannot do. From what I've observed, I'm confident this class will have the courage and strength to confront any challenges that come your way. And I am certain your generation will take less for granted and savor that in life which is sweet, like being with friends and family and celebrations like this one. Now let's celebrate. Congratulations, class of 2021.
Sorry, I have to do more flipping. Okay, please help me welcome our Superintendent of Schools, Mr. Christopher Drezik.
I have to flip too. First of all, clearly, nothing this year was going to be easy, and there's no one more relieved right now than the two of us and is our weatherman. So thank you, Mr. Bajoni, because he did say 8 o'clock, and I think I made that clear in the message, but I was doubting him at about 7:45. Flip to the wrong page, I apologize. But good evening. I've asked Chairman Kruzel to join me up here for 2 reasons. The first he has no idea about, and he wouldn't want me to say this, so I might be in a little bit of trouble. But there was a time when we didn't think today would be possible. But when it looked like we would be able to have a ceremony this year, I told Chairman Kruzel that we're going to do everything possible to give you guys the best commencement ceremony we could. It was then he said to me, "Are you going to do the gown thing?" So I had responded that we hadn't gotten that far yet, but most likely yes, because we wanted the ceremony to be as normal as possible for you guys. He then said to me, and I'll quote, "Don't put us in gowns. The only ones who should be wearing gowns are the graduates, as this is their day, and us being in gowns takes away from the attention they deserve." So after he said that, he said one more thing that stuck with me, and I will requote again. "No one is here to see us. You either." So there's a reason the two of us and all of our board members look a little bit different this year, and it's not because we wanted to lessen the pomp and circumstance of your evening, but because this gentleman and our board members wanted to ensure that all eyes are on you this evening, because tonight is your special day.
And just so you know, the class president tore up my speech when he threw it off.
There's also probably some angry Enfield High faculty in the audience right now, so here comes the apology. I didn't tell Mr. Fenton we weren't wearing gowns. So my bad. But the second reason we're up here together is time. Now, it didn't hurt that the last time the two of us were up here, it was obviously raining like was tonight. It isn't now. And we announced that we would cut our speeches out, and we subsequently received a standing ovation. So we got the message loud and clear, but we can't let this opportunity pass without saying just a few very brief words to the class of 2021. So typically, commencement speeches are filled with quotes from historical figures meant to inspire you as you head off to the next phase of your lives. But I want to share with you a quote from someone that I'm positive you've never heard of. And that's my 5th grade teacher, Mr. Hafner. Now, this is also proof that the teachers you've had your entire career do and will have an impact on the rest of your lives, even if you don't recognize it in the moment. I'm not going to tell you how long ago it was that I heard this, but you could see the gray hair on my head, so you can imagine this has stuck with me for quite some time. But Mr. Hafner used to tell us every day, time is a gift. Use every minute wisely. He even had it written on the chalkboard, which again is something most of you probably haven't experienced in your time in school either. Now, this was a different time. This was before cell phones, the internet, social media, Snapchat, Instagram, TikTok, which I still don't understand. On a side note, I also have a daughter like you that graduated this year, and she sends me these things all the time that are apparently supposed to be funny, and how many times can you watch a dog flipping over? I don't get it. But again, the gray hairs go back to it. And there definitely wasn't YouTube, which a lot of people at home are actually watching the ceremony here tonight. Now, time did have a different meaning when I was growing up. You know, we didn't spend hours watching someone whisper on YouTube while they ate broccoli into a microphone. Again, something I will never quite understand. But most of us couldn't wait to get out of Mr. Hafner's class so we can head out to a field to play ball or to run home to watch TV, and I'm not that old, we had cable. Or we run to a friend's basement to play Nintendo. But what Mr. Hafner reminded us daily is that time is the only thing we can't make up. It's also the only thing we can't take with us. And it's the only thing that if we don't use properly, we can never get back. So these past 15 months, we are all forced to do something we never dreamed of. We watched time stand still. For the first time in our lives, the world closed. There was nowhere to go and almost no one to see, at least in person. And what I hope you all did with that time was reconnected with those who are the most important in your lives. But I also know that all of you spent that time persevering through something that was no fault of your own. So instead of worrying about what you were missing, you adjusted and you moved forward to get here today. And for that, we couldn't be prouder of you. But now comes the hard part. What are you going to do with your time moving forward? Are you going to use it to make an impact on someone else's life? Are you going to use it to make an impact for your town, for your state, for your country? Are you going to change the world? Now, you've all lived through and thrived through what I hope is the hardest time of your life. So you've already proven you can do anything you put your minds to. But now it's up to you. And just given not just what you've accomplished to get here this evening, but for the people that you've all become, I couldn't be more confident that you will make the most of the time you have. So remember, time is a gift, and use every minute wisely. Now, how I'm going to use my time is I'm going to stop talking so we can get to what you are all here for, the awarding of your diploma. I get to know every time. So on behalf of the Enfield Public Schools, I want to offer our deepest congratulations and wish you all the best of luck in whatever you choose to pursue. You should all be very proud of yourselves as we are very proud of you. Members of the Enfield Board of Education, by the authority bestowed upon me by the state of Connecticut, I do here certify that the class of 2021 has successfully has successfully exceeded all of the requirements prescribed by the Connecticut State Board of Education and the Enfield Board of Education. Chairman Krusell, I recommend the awarding of the diplomas.
And just indulge me 30 seconds. On the mention of time, this is a gift I got 37 years ago, sitting in those chairs this day at my high school graduation. So let's just see what time it says when I open it. It says, let's hand out some diplomas.
I'm back. And now for the presentation of the diplomas. Please help me welcome the chairman of the Enfield Board of Education, Mr. Walter Krusell. Okay. He already spoke a little bit. We'll go to the next one. I now invite Ms. Gagnon, Mr. Murray, and Mr. Clark forward to read the names.
Grace Kennedy Ferris. Alexis Ann Dean. Cassandra Marie Dean. Daniel Michael White. Olivia Alana Abateo. Nezi Inez Agudelo. Abdul Ahad Ajamal. Alexia Jean Albano. Krista Marie Alexander. Amanda Afia Adeni Poma Amwabeng. Jack Anderson. Fabricio Bartolome Arias. Cameron Madison Arvise. Charles J. Aslin. Abdullah Atif. Alexis Erica Aubrey. Quinlan James Audette. Anthony Ozina. Amna Babar. Rebecca Marie Babbitt. Derek Ryan Bagley. Avery Marie Ballou. Sean Douglas Barra. Christian Kyle Barbara. Haley Michelle Barfield. Daniel Luke Barnes. Joseph Allen Barnes. Chad Michael Barone. Lillian Grace Barone. Jessica Lynn Carroll. Drake Eric Larenson. Kyle William Bartholomew. Ledger Bishop Bartholomew. Ethan Cole Bassinet. Kimberly Mary Bowman. Chednaz. Sarah Belkoja. Jaden Robert. Iggy. Brett Boucher. Ethan Boucher. Nathan James Boudreau. Zachary Angel Burdoin. Joshua Carl Bowen. Dakota Bowling. Xander Joseph Boyd. Emma Diane Branson. Daniel Robert Brennan. Riley Rose Bridge. Aaron Joseph Brink. Sarah Kiran Brown. Kyle Bruno. Olivia Brusick. Anna Grace Bryson. Anthony Paul Bonaducci. Ty LaCraig Calloway. Megan Ann Campbell. Ashley Lynn Capodicasa. Jenna G. Cardone. Danielle Ann Carlton. Colin Jacob Karen. Wesley Raul Carrero. Benjamin Thomas Carrier. Kiara Latae Carr Long. Gabriella Elizabeth Castro. Mason Cawthra. Cheyenne Elise Sassier. Morgan Marie Champagny. Alana Michelle Chaplin. Jake Joseph Chaplin. Justin Joseph Chaplin. Savannah Rose Chappell. Lauren Elizabeth Shania. Maxwell George Chipman. Brian Michael Christie. Max Angelo Cisneros. Gabrielle Elizabeth Clay. Isabella Ann Cole. James Allen Collins. Zachary Michael Coleman. Jonathan Colon. Tucker Christian Congdon. Sumner Scott Conklin. Caitlin Townsend Connery. Michael Davitt Conroy. Austin Lawrence Cook. Brenna Lily Cook. Aaron Michael Coons. Justin Dung Costa. Mackenzie Cheryl Cray. Bria Elizabeth Cruz. Cassidy Lee Courier. Madison Lee Danew. Stephen Michael Lee Danew. Annabelle Marie Daly. Brandon Dang. Gabriella Bell Davis. Ryan Matthew DeBarber. Madison Sierra DeCarish. Cole Michael DeTura. Caitlin Elaine Diamond. Darius Louis Diaz. Joshua DeSalvo. Patrick Joseph Droney. Tyler James Druin. John Paul Dubiel. Marissa Catherine Dumay. Alexander Clayton Easley. Mahmoud Yasser Al-Sabal. Caden Richard Evans.
Brentavia Pamela Fallon. Joanna Devine Farrell. Julian Corey Ferguson. Tadeja Essence Floyd. Jordan Madison Foote. Germani Navaya Forbes. Kelsey Grace Frenette. Sophia Frajat. Todd Frimpong. Leah Christine Futterlieb. Ryan Gattani. Galen Galbraith. Darlin Yaneli Garcia Lozano. Olivia Elizabeth Elise Gassett. Connor Thomas Gaston. Madison Mather Gates. Nicholas John Gilmore. Zachary Tyler Gerard. Olivia Girona. Jake Gleason. Ryan Michael Godbout. Eric Michael Golden. James Jason Gonsalves Jr. Ahmed Gouda. Abigail Julia Gorman. Thomas Robert Graham. Kaylee Gail Grant. Lorelei Paige Grenier. Bryce Dale Gregaitis. Jamie Lynn Gugliotti. Thomas James Hamilton. Alexis Jade Harlow. Talia Houghton. Athena Marie Hernandez. Bernice Hernandez. Andrew James Herron. Emily Jane Herzig. Tasia Alani Hester. Vincent Robert Hohen. Ashleen Natanya Hogan. Aubrey Nicole Holmes. Gregory Michael Holmes. Zoe Christina Holmes. Connor James Howley. Ryan Shea Hudson. Kaylee Diane Hunt. Akib Ghani Hussein. Kevin Joel Hutchings Jr. Good boy, Hutch. Aisha Ilias. Anthony Michael Izzo. Matthew Messiah Jackson Jr. Nathaniel Jensen. Sierra Lanice Johnson. Marguerite Marie Johnson. Andrew Thomas Jones. Cole David Jones. Emily Elizabeth Jones. Paige Marielle Kaiser. Faizan Ajmal Khan. Wilson Elijah Kibbe. Ethan Andrew Kinelski. Lauren Deborah Kirkbride. Jaden Omari Klosik. Monique Simone Knight. David Edward Kula. Melissa Dean Kopeksa. Kyle David Layback. Serena Grace Lamontagne. Caitlin Rose Landry. Paige Elizabeth Langan. Cassidy Ruth Langevin. Riley Gray Lanzari. Jameson Bryce Lavery. Morgan Elizabeth Lazara. Kaylee Madison Leduc. Jonathan Wallace Legere. Dylan Thomas Lennon. Cyrus Adam Lavasser. Zuyuani Belen Yanas. Olivia Spencer Longley. Catherine Lee Longo. Antonio Ramon Lopez. Madison Lopez. Morgan Taylor Ludwig. Melanie Michelle Lulanda Gonzalez. Tristan Lynch. Jenna Nicole McPhee. Amy Michelle McGregor. Lauren Elizabeth Malcolm. Aaliyah Marie Mangus. Yesenia Jasmine Marcano. Jessica Elizabeth Marcotte. Elijah Kaimani Mark. Philip John Marocchini. Roy David Marocchini. Brianna Rose Marone. Grace Abigail Marshall. Tyler Wade Marston. Caleb Thomas Martinek. Cassidy Michelle Mason. Mackenzie Leanne Mason. Gage Michael Madison. Christopher McDaniel. Viola Haven McDermott. Cody John McGinnis. Jovan McGowan. Bryce Patrick McGrath. Amy Lynn McMurray. Sal Meller. Gavin Mitchell Messier. Nathaniel Griffin Messier. Luke William Michaels. Adam Midyet. Ryan Miller. Bella Morcus. Alexia Paige Morelli. Jalen Michael Morgan. McKenna Grace Muska. Matthew Navarro. William Brian Nelson. Lindsay Twee Wynn. Samantha Norrie.
Shane Christopher O'Neill. Marcus Ordonez. Matthew Ordonez. Mostafa Othman. Chase Thomas Olette. Brianette Amaris Padilla. Deja Lee Damaris Padilla. Caitlin Jade Paklos. Kruti Vipin Panchal. Caitlin Dora Starr Pearson. Jack Anthony Pasalacqua. Pratham Kailash Patel. Shiv Parin Patel. Elijah David Pelkey. Benjamin John Penty. James Parker Peritz. Rashad Peters. Patrick Pierce. Avery Ann Pierce Gaudette. Morgan Shea Piat. Jaden Antonio Pitts. Jacob Riley Post. Jocelyn Genevieve Powers. Tyler Allen Preisner. Rachel Karen Prouse. Zoe Madeline Prevost. Victoria Lynn Price. Julia Francis Perdue. Shah Mir Qureshi. Matthew Robert Raber. Brady Thomas Rancourt. Amaya Kiana Randolph. Matthew Richard Raymond. Chloe Barbara Reed. Christopher Jacob Remington. Matthew Christian Renna. Ariana Reyes. Jacob David Reynolds. Kyle Carl Rhodes. Caroline Faith Richards. Danielle Lynn Riendo. Kyle Roger Riendo. Mia Rose Rinaldi. Genesis Mary Ellen Rios. Harley Ann Rivers. Casey Lynn Roberto. Faith Rosandra Robotham. Emily Marie Irene Rochette. Brianna Yasmin Rodriguez. Destiny Iris Rodriguez. Marcos Christopher Rodriguez. Sabrina Yasmin Rodriguez Santos. Mark Roman. Lindsay Nicole Rooney. Angelica Haley Rosado. Adriana Marie Rosignol. Azucena Rubio Rodriguez. John Robbie Della Pena Ruiz. Michaela Joy Ruiz. Carter Dylan Simon. Bruce Winston Salcedo. Jad Salah. Ayana Sanders. Emily Ann Sarno. Kyandra Love Saucier Drygen. Jessica Victoria Savage. Nicole Ann Seidel. Andrew Joseph Samancic. Joseph James Severino. Tyra Lynn Shaw. Dante Sharp. Keith Sharp. Dylan Shermer. Jason Shee. Tyler Michael Simmons. Nathaniel Paul Sennett. Ashley Jennifer Smith. Dominic Anthony Smith. Alexander David Snellgrove. Nicholas John Stanhope. Savannah Riley Stebbins. Ethan Daniel Steele. Hayden Evelyn Stetson. Ethan Lee Stokes. Kaliame Nisa Swanson Asiam. Theodore John Sweeney. Sierra Jade Talacio. Adam Regine Thibodeau. Robert Ernest Tholen. Nathaniel Torres. James Tyler. Haley Ann Usello. Noe Alberto Umana. Lainey Vandal. Holly Grace Vayu. Ariella Janae Velez. Andrew Varangia. Derek Manuel Villalongo Villanueva. Jennifer Sofia Viveros. Matthew Ryan Von Eisengrein. Liliana Elizabeth Wabel. William Damian Walton. Hannah Lynn Marie Ward. Vanicia Christine Webb. Debonair Unique Watley. Tyler Autumn Whitman. Zachary Curtis Gerald Williams. Anil Jamal Wilson. Cindy Lynn Wilson. Caitlin Wink. Maxwell J. Wishart. Ethan James Wright. Lena Yang. Kaimani Yard. Noor Yunus. DeMarlo Samuel Young. Harrison Gabriel Youngberg. Miriam Zahid. Bungji Chu. Carissa May Zeroli. Kaylee Ann Zukowski.
Grand Marshals, please have the graduates stand. Graduates, please make sure that your tassel is placed on the right side of your cap. At this time, please move your tassel from the right side of your cap to the left side. Ladies and gentlemen, as my last official act as class president, may I present to you the graduating class of 2021. All right, thank you all for coming. Have a great night.